entrance.
All set, Luke?
Yes, but I mean, to the actual building.
All right, good morning, everybody. Good morning and welcome to this next iteration of the project team and direct abutters meeting here for the South Kingston New High School construction efforts. I would first off like to thank everybody that took the time to come here and join us this morning. We have a lot of information we're excited to get through, so welcome and thank you again for taking time out of your Saturday morning. To start with just the clear purpose of why we wanted to make this outreach effort happen. It is our goal through this meeting to provide clear updates on the progress that's been made over the many years of effort to get the job to the point that it's at today. We are intending to provide expectations and context with what you as direct abutters can expect from us as we work towards this project's culmination. And lastly, we'd like to provide an opportunity for some structured feedback at the end of the project, at the end of the presentation. You know, we as a project team remain very sensitive to the fact that we're operating this project effectively in your backyards. And we understand that there is a level of consistent nuisance and disruption that can present itself from projects of this scale that is somewhat unavoidable. With that being said, we are tremendously grateful for the greater community's patience and support as we have worked through some of these issues and made efforts to try to do a better job with the communication, with the messaging that's going out from the team. And we remain committed to doing our best to bolster that communication and mitigate nuisance and disturbance as best as we possibly can. This is an outstanding initiative to improve the educational capabilities of this town. We remain committed to delivering this project on schedule, on time, on budget. Our other prime directive is being the best neighbors that we can be to you all. So I wanted to start this meeting with that reiteration that we care about these concerns. We're here to answer the questions. We're here to work with you as best as we possibly can through this project. Moving on to a brief overview of today's agenda. So first, I'm going to spend a little bit of time just detailing the last 2 years of design, planning, permitting, and approvals that got us to the start of construction. We've been building now since August or September of this past year, so we'll give an overview of some recaps of the work that's been performed up to date. We'll provide a schedule overview as well as some expectations as to what you as direct abutters can expect. We are going to start the messaging regarding an initiative we'd like to make to hold a direct abutters fencing discussion at some point in the near future, as that's one topic that the direct abutters can have direct impact and feedback on the final product that gets installed. So we'd like to set a time to solicit that feedback. And then lastly, like I mentioned, we're going to set a sizable portion of this meeting just for soliciting feedback so we can discuss some concerns in person in real time. I would just ask that you make note of questions as they arise, but hold them until the end, just so we can be operating from a consistent context and baseline of information so that when we get to the end, we've all got the same information and we can then tackle these concerns one at a time. But everybody will have a chance to speak. I should introduce as well, apologies, also with me up here today we have Mark Moore. He is the project executive from the Gilbane Building Company, the construction manager running the day-to-day construction coordination in the field. I am Justin Jones. I am the site rep for Left Field PM. We are the owner's representative on this project, representing the town through these construction efforts. So, getting into construction overview. A project of this scope, we passed the bond referendum vote at this point about 2 years ago, and a tremendous amount of work has happened behind the scenes to initiate the design, take it from concept to execution, and ultimately get us through the permitting to the stage that we're at today. So anytime a project of this scope starts to come together, each design reference stage, going from schematic design to design development and ultimately through the production of the construction documents. That takes a considerable amount of time, effort, and planning to basically refine from the initial vision concept to constructability at the end, where we have a set of plans that we can then go and execute. Once that design process is completed, we switch on to approvals and permitting. At this stage, everything is behind us regarding permitting, and the job is obviously well underway. The job is completely bid out with 2 separate GMPs, gross maximum price contracts. This job was purchased first with enabling site work, utilities, and foundations, the initial couple segments of the critical path to enable us to get the project off the ground while the rest of it was bought out. And then earlier this year, the remaining portion of the job that will take us through completion was purchased out. So at this point, we are purely focused on the pure production of the construction efforts. The actual construction efforts of this project are then broken up into 2 distinct phases. So this red line you see right here next to building construction, this is phase 1, which consists of the new high school construction effort in the old field near the adjacent existing school. This red line here denotes where in the process we are. So currently, being towards the back end of May, I would say we are 35 to 40% through construction efforts of the new high school. This is a very exciting stage of the project for us as the project team, because at this point we are effectively substantially complete through the structure of the school, so the load-bearing bones of the school that later support the remaining build-out that gives the building its utility. At this point, we are starting to gradually transition towards the enclosure of the building envelope, which you'll see on the west side of the building as we work our way through, as well as we're just about to start the true interior build-out. So that's items like framing your interior partitions, running your mechanical, electrical, and plumbing components, the items that give each individual area their actual end-use purpose. So for us as the project team, this is really when the project starts taking shape and we can start to see the real design impacts and intentions come to life. Once we are through phase 1, which is scheduled for substantial completion on July 23rd of 2027, that's when phase 2 of the building project will begin. Phase 2 of the building project consists of the demolition of the existing high school and then the associated field work and site restoration, site work to transition the site to those practice fields with the landscaping on the north half of that final conditions overlay to my left over here. So we'll pull that up on the presentation later and touch on that in some greater detail. But the phase 2 consists of the demolition of the existing school and the associated site amenities. Once we hit our substantial completion date of July 23rd, that is the point that we start moving in fixtures, furniture, and equipment into the building. That's when the teachers move in, and that's when the last half of the summer is really spent getting the building operational and ready for school to start in season right at the start of the fall. So. We'll move next into just a forecast of construction activities that you can expect over the next month. So this is a document that the Gilbane building team puts together every week, basically detailing the different areas of the building and the work that's going to be occurring at them. The abutter updates that the community receives from me on a weekly basis is effectively a map version of this information. So we're trying to push this out as early as we reasonably can, knowing that construction is always a bit of a moving target as we adjust to conditions and issues real time. So you'll see some areas called out here, areas A, B, C, and D, just for context. On the left side of this new school overlay, this classroom stack here, the 3-story part of the building on the west side of the building, that's a 3-story classroom stack, so that's where the majority of the classes are going to be taught. Moving from west to east, we have area B right here, which is the cafeteria, the kitchens, the MEP and utility rooms. We have area C, which is the gymnasium, the fitness room, the lab spaces on the east side of the building. We come down to this bottom right rectangle, area D. That is the auditorium, your band room. And then we have area E, this block right here, which is effectively your administration spaces. So when we see areas A, B, C, D, these are the areas we're referring to, and that's how I delineate the maps that I post online every week, so you can see and hopefully draw a conclusion. Okay, this work is happening here, my house is here in proximity, I have an idea what to expect. So getting into the 4-week look ahead, at this point structural steel has been done for a couple of weeks, and we've been doing what's called steel detailing. So what that specifically has entailed on this project, it is the installation of the metal decking, which provides the supports for the roofing and the flooring systems in the building, as well as setting some of the final steel dressing items like relieving angles that do things like support the weight of windows and other instruments once they're installed, as well as some welding, so making some welding attachments between beams and other steel dressing items. We are through that at this point, so we don't anticipate any more steel action happening on the outside of the building. The next big item we've been working through, and I'll get into the concrete pours in a little more detail shortly, but as you all know, we've been pouring a lot of concrete slabs in this building too. So there's a couple of different series of pours that make up both the roofing systems and again the flooring systems on the upper levels, as well as the concrete slabs that get poured on grade, on ground level. We have probably 5 or 6 pours at this point remaining, roughly, but we do have a target date in early June when we anticipate being done that phase of work, which I think is going to be exciting for everyone in the community. And again, more on that later. Effectively, the remaining pours we have to do are just located on the east side of the building here. Everything on the west half of the building, areas A, B, and E, has been poured to date. Switching gears to underground utilities. At this point, underground utilities substantially completed this week within the building footprint. So that's the activities of excavating for your underground plumbing, your underground electrical conduit. Once those items are installed, the site workers come back and backfill that material and then compact it. So they press the soils down so that ultimately we can prep for the concrete slab that gets poured on top of them. So as we're working through the final week to 2 weeks of concrete slab pours, we're at that stage where everything below the slabs is done. We're working on our final areas of preparation to then pour the concrete on top of that. We've been installing interior thermal coating and spray fireproofing. So thermal coating is a rolled-on application of material that effectively improves building efficiency by keeping heat either in or out depending on the season and the temperatures on either end of that the void of the wall. Fireproofing is exactly what it sounds like. It's a foam spray applied system that goes directly on the various steel members to make them more resistant to heat in the event of a building fire. So we're working through that on the interior of the building, currently on the west half, in preparation for starting to enclose the walls and build those interior partitions and walls, as well as the install of our interior mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. From there, we have begun the exterior framing and sheathing, and I have a picture later in this presentation which will illustrate what that is. But effectively, if you're driving by the west half of the site and you'll see that plywood material enclosing the left classroom wing of the building, that's what that is. That's the actual build out and enclosure of the building envelope on that side of the building. We have begun the roofing installation also on the west side of the building at the top of the classroom stack, and we will work our way through that roofing install again from west to east. The elevator shaft install has begun, so our installer, our subcontractor, has mobilized to scaffolding on all 3 levels of that Area A classroom stack. They've deposited their block and mortar mixing stations on the site, and they are currently in the process of building that elevator shaft up through the classroom area of the building. In about 2 weeks, we will start our air vapor barrier install on the areas that have the framing and sheathing installed on the exterior of the building. So the air vapor barrier is the membrane that wraps up over that plywood framing to keep moisture and water and vapor outside of the building. So that's what gives the building its weather-tight seal. And then, exciting for us, also in about 2 weeks, we should be starting our interior MEPs, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, as well as our interior framing. So we've been going through the building We've been snapping lines that lay out the various interior walls, so if you were to be in the building walking through it, you would see chalk lines that denote the various areas, so you have a good idea, again, of what that end-use space is going to feel like now that we can see that framing going into place. Switching to just some more construction impacts regarding your experience as abutters regarding after-hours work and site lighting. So I mentioned in the work forecast that we are near the end of our concrete slab pours. These concrete slab pours have really been the driving factor that has necessitated the occasional day of loud, noisy, and late night work with the lights being on. Unfortunately, the way the concrete pouring process works is it requires a tremendous amount of manpower and coordination to bring it from just the concrete coming out of the pump truck to pouring it, to then spreading it out, smoothing it, giving it a finish, saw cutting it, and curing it, sealing it. So there's a long process that takes a lot of time. This process is also time sensitive. That's the important part. So once that concrete is poured, we have to wait a few hours for it to set up so that the workers can get on it and start finishing it, making their cuts before it hardens to a certain point. So we have a time-constrained window where we have no other option than to just get the work done. So as we've messaged, the lighting is required by safety regulations to remain on while we have workers on site. That lighting does get switched off when the workers leave the site. I believe we were out of here at 9 o'clock yesterday for
9:05.
which is great. That's really within the standard construction ordinance and even isn't that late. But my point in all of this is we have another, I'd say, 5 to 6 pours that we anticipate being done by roughly June 10th. I will throw an asterisk that those pours are weather dependent. So if we have a day where heavy rain is even forecasted, we have to bail on the pour for that day and then push it because the concrete would get ruined if it rained. Okay. Also regarding the lighting, we have installed a light timer, which we've messaged. So the lighting is currently set to go off at 6 p.m. if it hasn't been shut off prior every day at the end of the day. This is just one more layer that we wanted to try to think outside the box with something we could do to address some of the feedback we had gotten for the light being on. We understand that it's intrusive, especially when it's dark out. It's like being on an airfield. It's very bright. So this is one thing that we wanted to make sure we had installed as an extra safeguard against any potential human error, wiring issues, mistakes, what have you. And it seems to have been working well at this point. Okay, moving along. So this is a drone shot that the Gilbane team captured on April 29th of this year. This was held at our topping out ceremony. So the topping out ceremony is a really cool tradition in construction that marks a major milestone in the construction process. Effectively, it is celebrating the completion of the structural frame. So for this event on April 29th, you'll see it's kind of tough to see, but this white beam right here that this crane is hoisting up for install, that's the final steel beam that had to go in to complete the structure of the building. That beam was painted white. It was signed by a lot of different members of the community, the students at the high school, the project team, etc. And we had a great event on a nice sunny day celebrating all the work that it took to get this project to that stage. So it was very exciting for us as the project team, again, to transition a little bit out of that structural phase and more into actually closing the building in and starting to button it up. Another item I love about this drone shot is it just gives you a sense for the scale and the scope of this project. So some various items you can see here. When I was mentioning that steel decking that provides the support for the various flooring and roofing systems of the building, you can see that at this point it was probably 80% installed. You can see some concrete pads we poured on the roof, which serve to support mechanical systems that are going to live up there on the roof. You can see some other concrete slabs on levels 2 and 3, as well as on grade on that classroom stack. So it just gives you a sense for the scale and I think the coordination that goes into having 100 workers here on site all day, kind of herding all of that and funneling that through to a product like this. So we're making great time. We continue to perform very well against the schedule, and we are determined to continue making sure that's the case so we deliver this project on time. Getting into a little more of the construction minutia of various activities and sequences we're performing on site. So to the left here, I had mentioned earlier that exterior framing and sheathing. This is that 3-story classroom stack on level A, the west side of the building. So the way this assembly system works is effectively you have these metal tracks and clips that get installed into the slab and steel at the exterior wall. The framing is then screwed into those metal studs. From there, we'll apply the air vapor barrier, etc. But this is the original iteration of the building envelope starting to enclose for this project. Over on the right, where it says vapor barrier install at gymnasium. So what that is after our underground utilities are installed, so they're dug out, the piping and conduit is run, they're backfilled, they're compacted. We then prep for the slabs on grade that get poured out of concrete by installing this yellow stego material. This watertight system acts as a vapor barrier by keeping moisture out from under the slab. So that material gets rolled out. The seams of that material get taped with a material, also by stego. Then we apply some wire mesh down on top of that, which solidifies and strengthens the concrete that gets poured. So all of this is to say this is the preparation for the concrete pours that we have to perform at ground level. Switching to the next phase, on the left we have a snapshot of just an action shot of an actual concrete slab on grade pour. So as I had mentioned, it's always a huge operation on site when these pour days come up. It's about 20 to 25 workers. The pump truck shows up at 7 o'clock along with 20 to 30 mixers hauling about 300 yards of concrete at a given time. This is a time-sensitive operation, so you're seeing effectively two parts where the right half of this has been poured, spread out, and we have some workers on it finishing it and giving it its smooth finish. To the left, you see the various pumps and systems spreading the concrete to be finished later. After the concrete is spread, we have to wait for it to cure a certain amount. We apply a smooth finish. We saw cut expansion joints into it, and then we seal the slab at the end. So it's a lengthy process with a lot of steps to get right and as strong as we need per the design. Then to the left, we have our mobilization for the elevator shaft install. So we've had about 10 masons on site every day, setting up that scaffolding that you're seeing, as well as depositing the various layers of block to each level of that classroom stack. The shaft assembly started yesterday, so that's another exciting stage for us to see the building starting to go vertical within the confines of the framing. So two plan sets that I would think would be of particular interest to you all as neighbors. The first is just a site context plan with an overlay of intended finish conditions over current actual conditions. So to give you a quick overlay of what we're looking at here, we've got School Street, Brown Street, Kimball, Church, and Columbia. The intention here is so that you are able to identify where around these lot lines you're located and then have a real idea of what the finished product in your proximity is going to be like. This overlay shows the existing high school with all the associated parking and drive lanes. Here's the hazard building with parking. And then this shows the overlay of the new high school's design along with all of the paving, student parking, teacher parking, bus drop-off, and then fields. You all are more than welcome to take these handouts home as well so that you can review further, and if you have any questions, I believe you all have my email at this point. Don't hesitate to reach out, and I'll clarify as best I can. Moving to the next slide, which is also in this presentation for take-home. This is the final conditions and landscaping plan set. So this shows you the culmination of what the lot lines will look like at the end of that phase 2 demolition and field restoration. So we've got our athletic practice fields, we've got various paving, both asphalt and sidewalks, we've got a lot of landscaping going in around the building to add a lot of green. So again, this is the anticipated finish condition that we'll see at the end of phase 2. Phase 1 consists of this area down here for the new school. Phase 2 is the demolition of the school and the field work. Okay. Lastly, getting into just some projected schedule milestones. As we mentioned, the steel erection at this point, as well as the building load-bearing structure, is substantially complete. We are targeting June 10th of this summer for the completion of all of our concrete slabs. One further item I will note about that is, while we do need to reserve the right to respond to issues that come up in real time in order to deliver this project on schedule, we do not currently anticipate any other sequences in construction that should take us outside of a standard work ordinance. And the same goes with Saturday work. So typically what happens is if we've had a rain delay or a material delay and we find out about that by Wednesday or Thursday, we sometimes do need to jump on a critical path item on that Saturday, and that's when you'll get that email from me that says we're going to be there, this is the capacity to expect. We do try to avoid that as best we can, and the same goes with the late after-hours work. We do not anticipate any further after-hours work once these concrete slab pours are done. Roofing is scheduled to reach 100% completion by the end of August of this summer. I will add that these milestone dates are total completion, so even though something like roofing might show a date of August 31st, what it really means is that everything before it has finished a couple of weeks or months before. So these dates are target dates for that entire sequence being complete. The building envelope we are targeting for the end of January, although you will see the classroom stack done a few months before that, etc., as the schedule cascades. Interior construction, we target the end of May. Hardscaping and landscaping for phase 1 directly around the new school, we target for the end of June 27. New school substantial completion, we are delivering this project on July 23rd of 27. That is also when the teachers, the fixtures, the furniture, and the equipment will be moved into the school to get the school operational for the new school year. And then phase 2 demo and site work, that is intended to take about a year from the start. So phase 2 will begin when the new school is substantially complete and will run until the following summer. Lastly, I had mentioned initially just a comment about this direct abutter fence meeting that we would like to initiate in the near future. So my team at Left Field PM will be reaching out to schedule this meeting in the near future just to solicit feedback relating to some of the fencing materials and decisions, layout, etc., that we would like to then incorporate into these final decisions. So I would say you could expect something in the next week or two from myself or a member of my team. We'll get that scheduled, and we're looking forward to that discussion to help make these final fencing determinations. So with that, we are going to open this forum up just for some open discussion and feedback. So any questions or concerns that you may have, I am all ears. I would like to reiterate again that while it is our responsibility to deliver this project on schedule and on budget, it is also our responsibility to be the best neighbors that we can. So whatever concerns you have, whatever questions you have, it is our intention and goal to provide a direct line of communication with myself and the project team, and then to action whatever we can as best we can. I think as alluded to, there are some things that we can control and there are some things that we cannot. But the things we can control, we are absolutely here to do the best we can to mitigate nuisance, to mitigate distraction, and to limit the extent of how the expected, of the levels of the expected intrusion from a project of this scope. So with that, everyone will have the opportunity to speak. Whoever would like to go first, you have the floor.
Well, first of all, I have to say that the presentation was superb.
Oh, thank you very much.
Superb.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Almost perfection.
Almost.
And I'm critical.
You did great.
I'm critical.
Almost. The next one we do, we'll hit it. Good, good.
My
I
guess.
totally agree with her, and I'm a critic as well about that. You did a great job.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the project looks great.
Yeah,
That's great. Thank you.
really.
And that's our goal, is to deliver a project that the town is really proud of, and that really increases our educational capacities in this town. So we take a lot of pride in what we do, and we are just excited to be here delivering this project to the best we can. So thank you for that feedback. Hi.
Hi, you've got Brown Street here, and then right on the
Columbia.
corner, on the corner of,
Kimball, no?
yep, that's
Kimball's me.
that's her.
Can I just ask a quick, that's the back of the building or the front of the building?
So that is looking at the north vestibule, I
No, it's
believe. So
interesting.
that is from,
It's a good one.
It's this way.
that is looking from the northwest.
From the old high school
looking
towards the
south.
building, so it's the back
Yes.
of the building.
Correct.
To me,
So this is
it's
the.
the back.
There's really no front or.
Okay, School Street's the front to, right?
I mean, the school street has the bus lane, right? So if that's.
Okay, got
a
it.
determining factor of a front or a back, but there's really no front or back. You've got access in from both sides. A lot of the
Just
parking
looking
and a
at
lot
the
of the circulation route is all in this area here. I was gonna use the word back, but it's not. And then your front is where your bus loop is, so.
The entrance.
The
Yeah,
entrance,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, but
yeah.
there's you have entrances coming just
I
from
did
both
see
sides,
that.
so it's really not a front or a back,
Yeah.
so to speak.
My question is.
Can I just ask, I'm sorry, I did have an actual question, so.
I do too.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What I want to know is, you finished excavating, you said, with the plumbing and the electric and all of that. Should we expect that maybe the house is shaking, like they're shaking like crazy? Would that maybe
So
be a
that-
little
that-
less with that being done?
It's going to be very limited at this point.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that we will have left to do is when we go to put in all of the pavement, we have to bring in some more dirt to raise that up a little bit, and that dirt needs to be compacted, as Justin mentioned earlier. So we will have to roll it with that machine, but it will not need to be turned on to the extent that it was on prior.
Yeah.
So while we'll be using that machine, there will be some of that happening, but it won't be to the extent that you've seen.
So when will we expect that to be done?
So we're gonna hope to do that over the course of this summer.
Okay,
So we're trying to get all the pavement brought up, and we're gonna try to get one layer of pavement in by the end of the summer, so that we get rid of all the dirt and the associated issues with that.
okay,
So, yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
And that's an item that we'll do our best to coordinate as best we can. Ideally, we're giving at least a week or 2 weeks' notice for maybe a rough timeline, like a 1 to 2 week period where you could expect that. So that's an internal discussion we'll be having. And as soon as I know when it is, that's something we'll be messaging as part of these weekly
So,
updates.
to follow up on what Raisa just said, if you don't mind, just that, how do you know that it's shaking our houses, other than us telling you, right?
So there's 2 ways. The first is definitely, my office is in the.
machine that tells you underground.
We've had vibration monitoring
Right.
set up
Yes.
for the bulk of
Okay.
that, which
Correct.
gives us the scientific data that shows really how strong that vibration
Yeah.
is. So that's something we track on a daily basis to make sure that it's not getting anywhere near a threshold that could potentially cause damage
Right.
beyond just annoyance. And I would say, I mean, if I'm remembering this off the top of my head right, I think we've been something like less than 1/10 of what that threshold is.
wow.
So while it's very annoying in the moment, and my office is right here in the Hazard Building, I feel it all day too.
Yep.
It kind of rattles your teeth for sure. But in terms of any risk to abutting properties, there is effectively none.
Yeah.
Are you taking into consideration that a lot of these foundations are just old rock foundations? Like mine's just a bunch of stone.
Me too.
So are you
All of us.
considering that it's not a regular traditional?
Right, so we are, but that is also why we wanted to take the initiative of offering these home site surveys to
Yeah.
document the exact condition of what it was before we got started. And then if there ever were to be any kind of a claim that, hey, this crack wasn't here before, we have that information to go back and we can then work to determine if that was caused by the construction, was it already there, et cetera. So, documenting was really the best we could have offered at that stage. And the other thing I'll say is if you ever think that something like that is happening, just give me a call and we'll check it out, so.
So going forward, can you describe a little bit what it's gonna be like to take down the old high school?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't even imagine, because I'm 2 inches away from it.
Yeah,
Can I just back up 1 second? Because it's your question, but it's same as, you're in charge of building this building, but then you go away, or you're doing the demolition as well?
Our company will
Yeah.
definitely be here taking.
Oh, you
down.
do that,
Yes,
okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and then, once that's down, then the landscapers take, like, not
Which will
you?
still be underneath us.
Oh, still you,
So
okay.
everything that's on this board and that board and that's been discussed is going to be us.
You're here for the whole project, beginning to end?
Exactly.
Okay,
Nice.
okay.
So to briefly describe what that demolition is going to be like, I mean, at a basic level, before the actual demolition starts, we're going to have to perform hazardous material abatement, which will take a little bit of time. That's effectively containing the building into different zones and then safely containing and removing any type of identified hazmat material that was identified on the environmental survey. That's something we take extremely seriously in terms of just health and safety regulations. We're going to have consistent ongoing environmental monitoring, making sure the work is done safely as the material is removed and brought off site. Once the actual demolition starts, I think from memory, we've got about 6 months for abatement and demo, roughly, right? So about 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same question.
Absolutely, yeah. Just like the new construction going on with the kids that are in school.
Yeah, but it
Right,
seems like
but I
it's
think
more
there's
drastic.
Yeah.
How
and
do you-
there's just
So-
a lot of
happens?
safety.
Yeah, I don't want there to be any misconceptions. So there's no dynamite, there's no explosions, there's no big balls swinging in. No, it's equipment with jaws on the end of it that kind of come in and just chew and take it to the ground, chew, take it to the ground. And then the equipment that comes in scoops it up, we'll put it into trucks and the trucks will take it away.
So
So it's not much
Nothing
different
is
than the
gonna be
equipment you
flying.
saw for the new construction, right?
So-
The excavators, it'll just have a different attachment on the end that comes in.
So then I can see what you're saying. The biggest concern is really what is that material, is the hazardousness of it. of
So it's
it.
all
Which
been
will all
tested.
been-
Right,
Yeah.
So to date, yeah, we've had a testing agency come in and look at every different component of this building, believe it or not, the floors, the ceiling, what's in the walls, and test that for any contamination. So we have a list of what to date is considered contaminant. So as Justin mentioned, we'll come in, go
Wait,
after those areas.
You do now? You know what the contaminants could be?
Yeah,
Yes.
yep.
Are you going to share that? What?
I think that was part of why, when they considered whether or not to build a new school, was like what was here was almost more difficult to deal with than just building new, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
Justin,
absolutely.
Can you review how you do abate a structure before you get the demo, kind of like we're doing at CC?
So this is going on right now
Absolutely.
at Curtis Corner, right, exactly. Yeah, go ahead.
So we're doing this over at Curtis Corner right now. We're going through the same process, albeit on a smaller scale. So like Mark spoke to, there's a very comprehensive survey that goes through every square inch of the building to identify what the hazardous material might be, whether it's asbestos or oils or what have you. From there, there is state and federal regulation that documents how we are required to contain and remove that material. So we'll go through this school zone by zone, and there's a couple of different systems at place that we utilize to make sure that everything is contained within the building and nothing is escaping to pose a hazard to neighbors or anyone at the new school. We utilize something called a negative air system, which basically pressurizes the room, pulling air into it, where it goes through a series of HEPA filters and cleans it entirely before it's vented out. As I mentioned, there is an environmental consultant who will be here continuously monitoring the work that's performed to ensure that it's done safely. And then there's the actual containment and removal of the material where, it is completely contained before it's removed off-site. It is shipped off to a designated facility in the state for safe disposal. So there's no risk, just to be very crystal clear, there is no risk to anyone outside of the school or any of the workers within the building while this work is going on. It's all very regulated and it's done very accurately because of that.
do you salvage any of the stuff that's here, like the doors and the lights, and does everything just go, or can you salvage some
So,
of
I
the?
think-
yeah.
Just like those doors look pretty nice.
So the doors won't be salvaged for reuse, but they will go to a facility that will scrap them and burn them and turn them into steel for use later, for other purposes. Same with the brick, it's all taken to places, concrete. It's all recycled material that's then reused in other projects.
So during that phase, would we expect that even though everything you said, the reverse air thing and the HEPA filters, would we expect that our property would have a layer of dust over it all the time?
No, that's a great question, but absolutely not. We're also going to be containing, once we get to the actual, well, let me back up. When the hazmat removal is happening, there's not going to be the possibility for any dust to be escaping from the building. That's part of those containment zones and procedures we utilize to keep everything contained. When the actual demolition happens, we're going to be using water and other various methods to control and keep the dust down so it doesn't have the opportunity to escape.
So as the machine is taking down the building, there will be dust created, there's no doubt in that process, there's just no avoiding it, right? But while that's occurring, there'll be guys with hoses and water sprays that'll be just hosing it down as the material is falling to the ground.
So then, I'm just thinking, then similarly, the parking lot, you're gonna have to like jackhammer the parking lot, right? Because it's
The
gonna.
pavement will come up and.
Yeah, so, and that is not what you're talking about with the building, so that's the parking lot.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, it's not hazardous, but, right, but it's
No, it's not considered hazardous at all.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's kind of done
regular.
everywhere on any other
Yeah.
project in the country
Right.
where we're taking out asphalt. It's not
Right.
that's not an overly dust situation, taking out asphalt.
Noisy, I imagine.
Again, it's gonna be that same
It is
equipment
what it
that was
is.
out here when we were building the new high school, the same
Yeah.
type of stuff, excavators and front-end loaders.
So what I didn't think I realized until I saw your timeline was that this school is coming down like a year after, it seems like that's, right?
No,
Was
it'll start that exact same summer.
That same,
So
su-
The
so
summer that
that
this
the
new-
teachers are moving into the school, we'll start the abatement process and/or demolition process.
I think the
wait, this is the
Those
completion.
are completion.
The
is
completion
this
one,
year. Yep.
2028.
Yep. That'll be the end of it.
I'm excited to have the practice fields.
But, well, no, wait, they're not practice fields, that's what, right?
That's
what.
correct. Yep, they're not.
They're not practice fields, that's why
They'll
that was gonna be my
used for
next
practice
question.
for the high school, but it's also gonna be
That's awesome,
space used
yeah.
for the community. There's a potential track that's gonna go around it for people to walk, and
Well,
landscaping and.
So I was trying to use my phone feature, the magnifier, to look at sidewalks, and what does this say? What does this say, right in the middle here?
That says community fields
Okay,
or
that's maybe the
practice
whole
fields.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And then this future sidewalk and this one, are any of these lines significant except for this one and this one? These are just grid lines?
No, they're just, yep,
That's
they're
the
they're
background
just.
of the school, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just the overlay from the
That's-
old school that
It's
that
just like
was.
a little.
Gives you an idea of
Yeah.
where it's happening.
Right. So why this and why this? What are those about?
The sidewalks that they're pointing to, or are you asking what the caption is or what they're actually pointing to?
Why are we having sidewalks in there? And what is this thing and what is this, like,
That's like that's a potential future walking track. So we're still pursuing the
Who are you-
ability to put a walking track in from a cost standpoint for the project,
walking track for who?
for the community.
So how is that the same as the field that was here, which didn't have
It's
that?
actually not, it's an enhancement, right, for the,
Well, for,
for the community, in general, to be
So I'll
able to
answer
use.
That's
that.
not how I
So
feel,
I'm Luke
but-
Martin, Deputy Town Manager. So when the building committee went through the process of design, we had always shown a track. I call it a track, it's a walking path. Just to be clear, that it's a community field. I want to also be clear that it'll be used similar to what it was done before. So the schools may use it for, I mean, you were using it for some practices. So it'll be just like Hazard was, just like Hazard Field, you know, any recreation facility that the town owns, we look forward. And the idea was, one, for pedestrian safety, you could come off, let's say Columbia, and get to the school off-road. So you could come through that space. But also as an amenity to the, hopefully, you and anybody in the neighborhood. I don't expect people to be coming here just to walk this track. I do expect the new high school facility, because it's a formal track, people will use that. But the idea is that it could be used as a community resource because it is a public park. And part of our commitment when we're doing this field swap, you know, we had to make that commitment to the National Park Service that we're taking 5 acres, we're gonna give you 5 acres, and that's gonna continue to be used openly as a community park.
You're Luke,
I'm Luke.
and I've only talked to you, I'm like, as soon as you started talking, I'm like, we
Yeah.
talked a lot on the phone, I didn't realize, I don't think I've actually seen you.
And so, I actually have to go. My poor wife is loading a dumpster right now because we're renovating a house just up the street. But, I know people have dealt with me in the past, either on the phone or in the meetings. Kate continues to be on the project. We're on the building committee together, and we have a great team, Terry. But, we had transitioned when construction happened. We hired at the OPM, left field. They've done a great job, I think, to this point. But they are the owner's project manager, so that, they're intentionally the point of contact because, quite frankly, I have to also help run the town with the manager, right? And Kate's a committee member. She has a life beyond schools, hopefully. So, yes. They're taking the brunt of the questions, but always feel free. If you're not getting the answers you have and you feel like you've hit a firewall, I'm still available, Kate's still available. But, we have a whole team. Mark from Gilbane has been outstanding, local community member as well. So very invested in the project. So it's not shoveling off. I think we've, to this point, made good on our commitments as far as, early on I talked about the field. I mean, this is 3 years ago.
I think that's the problem though, right?
Yeah,
Is
the
the
time goes by.
conversations happened so long ago. And then, which is why I take personal responsibility. I feel like we dropped the ball with the Abutter communication as far as this type of meeting. Like, I think we should have done it a little more often along the way. We realized that, and which is where we kind of got Justin to come on in and be like knocking on your doors, right? And being like, we are here. And I would like to see more of these going forward, just so that it's not like, a year from now, it's like, what did I say, or what was said in that meeting, or what have you, so that
I still think the communication has been really good.
Yeah, I actually
I've been super
do
satisfied
think
with
that.
it.
Thank you for saying that, but I do think you guys have been really responsive, and I'm not sure that more meetings would have been more helpful. My concern is, and this is from a town meeting level, is like thinking like, if decisions about like putting a walking path or something are happening at a meeting that's on the agenda for a town decision, I don't know who's involved in those decisions. Like, who would walk me through that? Who would say what's happening in this field?
So for right now, we had those discussions over the past couple of years, so that was always part of the design.
We did? Who did?
Well, whoever showed up at the meetings.
Oh, what meetings though? The town meetings?
We actually had specific school meetings. I mean, we have them recorded. I want to say we had probably 8 or 9 specific to school design throughout the past 2 years. So
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can always go back, and we have a whole.
Yeah,
video.
I think it wasn't about the field to me. I think we were also, I was anyway, focused on the building. I wasn't really.
Yeah, no, we had meetings on CCMS athletic facility. This
Yeah,
is all part of the site
I'm sure
design.
you
So,
did.
Listen, I know as a homeowner, like, you all have lives, and it's very tough to get to these meetings, and you often lose track. So we're glad to answer any questions you have. As far as the track, one thing we say on that, the walking path is still in discussion because it was always a price point. When we entered the project, we had best guesstimate of what it would cost. It's actually so far under budget, I would say, and we're hoping to keep it that way, right? You're all taxpayers. We're trying to come up with a responsible project. All to the point that Justin's saying as far as not delaying like the concrete pours. I'll give you an example. We delayed 1 day because I didn't want to wake everyone up at 7 o'clock in the morning, right? And they asked me, like, to delay till 9 o'clock is going to cost us over $2,000 because I had to pay the guys to be here. But I pulled the trigger and said, yes, I'm not going to wake them up at 7 o'clock in the morning. But I can't do that all the time because I also have this responsibility to the broader town about not inflating the cost of the project. So like these pours, if I have to push a pour and increase the schedule, that could be $10,000 to $20,000 just in that day that we have to push off. So these are very tough decisions that we have to make because I know I would love to not disrupt you at all on this project. But we also have a responsibility to build a high school. So we talk daily. We're always talking about how can we reduce the impact and still stay on track, on time, on budget. Go
Do
ahead.
you anticipate any problems with this Strait of Hormuz situation in Iran and us not being able to get supply?
Well, there's a ton of concerns on
Yeah,
that.
it was kind
As
of.
far as it
Not
relates.
for this project.
I don't think, the one thing Justin mentioned, you may not fully have been tuned into it, but we have a guaranteed maximum price, right? We have 2 contracts with Gilbane, you smash them together, that's our total contract price, and that's guaranteed. So they committed to bring in a project delivered for a guaranteed maximum. So unless there's things we find, which are already past a lot of that, like, you know, like we're dealing with at Old Mountain right now, we're jackhammering ledge. We didn't hit that here. A lot of the unknowns are past us, which is great. So that gives us certainty that we may have extra money for things like upgrades on fencing, or walking path, or at CCMS, you know, we have a whole athletic facility that we're building, not with Gilbane, but what's called the design build model. But left field is on that, taking us through that process. So just so you know, to answer your question very succinctly, no, I don't see any reason, unless something catastrophic were to happen, like, you know, hurricane or unforeseen events, knock on wood, blizzards. But even that blizzard, I mean, I give it to credit.
Yeah.
Within days, they cleared the site, they were
that.
working.
Yeah.
So we have an outstanding team that's got the wheels turning.
So can I just clarify something? The cement pours, as an abutter and a close abutter, but we're all really, actually, the people here are all pretty close abutters. They don't bother me noise-wise that much. It's that jackhammering thing that shakes your houses is not, I don't think, the cement pouring. That sound that's sort of like that machine is kind of a low hum. What bothers me about the cement pours is the lighting at night, but now that you have installed, now that I know that those lights are gonna go off, then I don't care. Like, I know there's an end, those are going off. When I didn't know that, I'm texting Kate going, are they gonna go off? Are they gonna go off? When are they going?
In that conversation, that was like, I'm driving here at 10 o'clock at night, like, I don't know.
Yeah, and
Now
because,
we've got a great-
right, because
And then we had said we would turn them off.
Right.
And then human error.
and then the human error, I was pissed that night. I was pissed.
Yeah, I know, and it wasn't, you know.
Yeah, no, I was just so pissed, because also, before that happened, because I knew the rule was, if there were workers here, you needed the lights on.
Yeah.
And so I was having my husband drive over to look to see, are there workers here, or did somebody leave with leaving the lights on? And I was like, I don't want to be in that position. So it's working great to have the, because all I want to know is the assurance that they will go off. Yeah.
That's the important thing. We took the feedback, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect by any means, you know, this was all new to us too.
Yeah.
because
No,
originally
it was
we
great.
had
You're-
an
All of
state
this, like, this is
Right.
information and process that I have never wanted to know about. And
It's,
here we
right?
are.
But that led to that time clock and having
Yeah.
certain safety measures, so if someone did forget, there's a.
Right. Thank you for solving that problem, and thank you, Kate, for being so patient and
I think, well,
responsive.
the key is being open to the conversation, right?
Yeah.
And I know you struggled with making a phone call to me on a
Every
Saturday.
time. I was like, because that emotional journey of thinking, do I bother Kate? And like, what do I write in a text?
But
Like,
if you hadn't let us know, we wouldn't know. To the question is
Well,
earlier, like, unless we hear about it. we
yeah.
won't know.
I mean,
So-
honestly, those lights that were described as Christmas lights, twinkling Christmas lights, looked like a power grid to light up New York City at night. Because I think there's something about those lights that get brighter as it gets darker. I think it's possible.
Lisa, could you see them?
Yeah, I mean.
I have so many pictures.
I feel so
I'm never
oblivious to
home,
all of
but
this, like,
I was-
I'm so.
I'll
interested
send you
in those
pictures.
things. Everything's going fabulously well.
It-
I find it amazingly exciting to like
We
live so
got,
close
that's,
to it.
that's what I
and-
think you got, like, we are super supportive.
We're
Like,
both,
excited.
completely.
appreciate
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
See
It-
it?
And the
I,
scale,
yeah, it could
Karen, I'll
be
send you
there, but
pictures
I-
from
It's-
Reese's
it's
house
crazy.
across the
I-
street.
I go to bed very early because I get up very early, and my foyer, my front door has a window, and I was like, holy shit.
I'll
what
send
is
you, I'll
that?
send you
It was
pictures. You'll be
crazy.
stunned. When those lights are left on, it looks like you could light up New York City.
Yeah, it was crazy, but whatever. My
It's in the
husband works
past.
nights, he was
It is.
sleeping
It
through
is.
all of everything.
And kudos
It's
should
fine.
go out to the town, the fire marshal and the police department.
Yeah, thank you.
Because their input also needed
Exactly.
to occur before we were able to.
To make
actually
sure
do-
that it
actually
was,
do this from a
right.
security standpoint.
Yes.
And they agreed to it as well, so.
Nice.
kudos to them.
Thank you for pulling everybody together.
One more question. Kimball Street, is that gonna be completely blocked off, or is there entrance to?
yeah,
Yes.
it'll dead end at the fields, so, I mean, obviously, you gotta get access to the driveway, but the road, just like it is now, The only thing nice is it'll just be a green space beyond that, it'll be
Right.
closed.
So there's no cars going through
No
like
cars.
there
No,
was
Joyce,
years
don't even
ago?
manifest it. Just
What?
That's
don't even
awesome.
put it out there.
Well, I want to know.
That would
Just, but just say like it's going to stay the same.
The redesigned traffic flow, we're hoping works better. You know, we're still keeping a lot of outlets dispersed through the site, so when people need to get out, we have School Street, we have Columbia. We've gone through a pretty extensive traffic design on the school buses. It's gonna take a little while, once it gets the school up and going, to get it in the normal flow of things, but Chip has been great to work with, the entire school team, and to date, and I think we'll be fine.
I will just make one more comment. Sorry, Kathy. Is that I do think, and this is just it's a nowhere comment. Kathy, do you want to say what you want to say?
I just had one.
Go ahead.
It's quick.
Shoot.
School Street is so narrow, okay? And the bus route is going in there, and the school is very tight in that narrow street. I'm just trying to visualize how that's gonna work. You know,
I don't think School Street's as narrow as you probably think. If you measure it out, that's a pretty,
Wide.
that's a pretty average road rate.
I think the piece
24
too,
plus.
though, is right now the buses stack up on School Street, or used to, I don't know what the flow is now, especially at the end of the day. We're not gonna have that anymore. So I feel like it probably feels more narrow because parents line that street
Oh, yeah, yeah,
also
yeah, yeah.
at like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon,
Yeah.
for 2 o'clock pickup. So all of that will be mitigated by this plan because the parents will be on the other side with a long driveway on site.
Yeah.
And then the buses will be able to turn in similarly to how they turn into Hazard.
Oh, yeah.
So I think what'll happen is a lot of that tightness
Yeah,
will
yeah.
actually be mitigated.
Wide, yeah. It has to be. Yeah.
It's a good point, though, and something we should probably bring up. So Veolia ran a water line down School Street, right? And they're obligated to pave curb to curb all the way down to Cleveland, from Columbia to Cleveland. Am I saying anything incorrect?
No, not yet.
Okay. Gilbane owns all of the sidewalks adjacent to the school site, which means that everything will get repaved. We are having a discussion because Columbia is actually not bad. Power wash would be fine. So we're looking at some trade-offs on potentially redoing the curbing all on School Street as well. So when the project is done, the intent is, you know, that'll be repaved, new curbs
sidewalks.
along School Street, new sidewalks, do a comprehensive project. So there will be some other repaving that's associated with the project, but Veolia is doing that as part of their own permit.
But Columbia is not gonna be repaved.
Right now, no, but I am working with the DPS team, the town's involved. We just had a meeting on this. We're aware Columbia needs to be repaved. It's just when, because we're gonna have heavy trucks rolling over it. So ideally, it'd be at the end of demolition, because we're gonna have a lot of trucks in and out.
Right. That's
But-
different than saying it doesn't need to be.
No, it needs to be repaved.
So in
Acknowledged.
general, yes.
Yeah.
It's just a matter
It's
of-
not related to
yeah.
this, but yes.
But that'd be a separate project cost, like we have to keep the school money to the schools, so the town is working, you know, there's two things I'm working on individually. One is with the DPS to look at the realignment of School Street and Columbia to maybe tee it up.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's kind of a nightmare over there, and especially when everyone's pulling out, it's a safety concern, so working on grant funding for that. I just talked to DOT, they have a new road restore program, which is split sharing 50% of sidewalks. So that may actually be a great opportunity for us to not put it on taxpayer money. And then in addition to that, repaving of Columbia is part of our capital plan. So we're aware, we're coordinated, it's like a dance, you know, everything has to be in sync, but we wanted to, like, when this thing's done, and I said this in our meeting, right? I don't want people looking at the school saying, we spent $150 million, but they're gonna look at this one little element that we didn't do.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
you know,
oh, you
that-
didn't, but you didn't replace the curbs?
Should be like the last thing to
Exactly.
get done,
Right.
so I mean, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Can you talk a little bit about the demolition of the high school and just from like a disruption standpoint?
I'm gonna
like
leave it to you
compared
guys.
Cool.
Thank
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you.
Compared to the construction of the school, like it's gonna be less noise, more noise? I mean, it's in different areas, so for me, where I live, I think it's gonna be
Yeah, I,
much more intrusive and
from
probably.
from a personal standpoint, on your side, I would say yes, it's definitely going to be more.
But like.
It'll be a
Because-
shorter window.
more
Because, but it'll be
vibration.
quicker, it'll be much quicker to Kate's
Okay,
point.
so that was also a question. I know that there's a time frame allotted for that, but in terms of, I guess, dropping the actual building, there's a lot of prep that's gonna happen before that happens.
Yep.
But like actually lowering the building, how long does that?
So we're gonna kind of take it from the west side, which is the cafeteria right now, from here, and work our way towards you, is really the flow that is gonna happen. So from a noise standpoint, it's gonna be further away from everybody that are abutting over here. And then as we work our way closer, that's when it's gonna start to get noisier, but there won't be as much to take down, so.
Will that actually start during like August 27, or is it the prep and like the actual?
We're still putting that together, so nothing carved in stone yet, but the good news is for us, this cafeteria and a couple of other areas that are on this side do not have anything associated with needing to be abated and taken out first. So in theory, we could come in here right now, today, and take this down without having to do any of that abatement activity. So our intent right now is that same summer that everybody's moving in, before school starts, 27, would be to take this cafeteria area down and as much as the rest of it that we can to get this out of the way of the new school when it opens up in September, because you can see how close they are to each other.
Yeah.
So while that's happening, we would be doing the abatement work in the area towards you guys, which does have some stuff inside of it. So that is kind of going to be happening at the same time. This may be coming down while that other end is being abated. And that abatement will take a couple months probably to do. And then hopefully by then, we're done taking this down and we'll move right into taking that down. So it's going to be a very continuous flow, I think, we're hoping. So yeah.
And then in terms of like vibration and noise,
So you're going to have the same equipment as you had as we had during the construction, right? There's going to be excavators, there's going to be backhoes, there's going to be the big front end loaders. Just that's all needed to take the building down and pick it up and get rid of it. Trucks.
so like similar amount.
Similar noises, you're going to have backup beepers, you're going to have, those kind of things that are all going to be on the equipment for safety purposes, right? Everybody understands that. So it'll be the same. There won't be anything different than what we had out here.
Okay, so it shouldn't be anything more than we've already dealt with.
No,
In less amount of time.
in a quicker, much quicker amount of time. Yeah.
It's just now just realizing that you're gonna have lighting here when all that's going on.
Yes.
Over here.
Yeah, we won't be working at night. There won't be any night work or anything associated with.
My understanding is,
lights
like,
and
I
stuff,
think the
like,
lights
I'm
are on
not
right
seeing any
now,
of that,
is
so.
that you need the lights on if there's workers here during the day.
They just happen to be on timers, so
Yeah.
instead of
Okay, well-
setting different timers and
Yeah.
and then that runs.
No, that,
and
I like the way they're working.
And we want to eliminate, you're right, to Kate's point, this timer comes on every day at the same time. And it
Good.
goes off every
Great.
time it's done.
I don't care if they're on
You
it
wanna
the
get,
day.
like, this day it does this, and this
Yeah,
day it
yeah,
does that,
no.
because that's just more of a chance of it not
No,
working.
I don't care at all if they're on it during the day, but I guess I'm just saying is that you're going to have lights on this?
We won't have any lights associated with the demolition.
Oh, no, okay.
Unless by, some reason, for whatever comes up, we may have to work at night or something. That is not anticipated. We're not thinking we need to do
Well,
that.
at some time, it gets dark earlier.
Well, in the winter, yeah, like it gets dark at 4, so.
The sun and the moon thing.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Have you ever seen a building come down by like the?
I was watching Bobby G's come down.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, so similar.
Because people do worry,
Yeah.
like, is it gonna be a wrecking ball? Is it
yeah.
gonna be?
And it
like a-
wasn't, that happened
It's like,
pretty
no, it
easily and
really
subtly.
very quickly, chomp, 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 chomp.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
I mean, the biggest case study, you're gonna have Curtis Corner coming down
Yeah.
shortly. So if you wanted to pack a lunch and kind of just sit out there in the garden, you could kind of see what's going to happen.
The difference, though, is there are no students, like,
Right next door.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't mean from that standpoint. I mean, if you want to see how it happens,
Yeah.
what equipment.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
daughter's a freshman now, so,
Yeah.
and we live right next door, so I
Yeah.
mean, I'm definitely concerned that there is, asbestos and whatever else.
That will all be taken care of regulatorily.
Noise and vibration, it's annoying, but.
It is.
We're talking health and safety,
Yeah.
it's just like.
I'm more concerned that there's asbestos existing in it right now, and my kids went
Yeah.
through
Or in
it,
it.
and I'm like, wow.
Yep.
I think we would all be,
25 years, I'm still alive.
yeah.
Just don't say that you're retired.
Right, I mean, it's not really an issue as long as it's not airborne, it's when it becomes.
Right.
loose.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
really-
Yeah, that's when the
That's-
problem, that's the
yeah.
problem with asbestos, is when you
Breathing
disrupt
out.
it.
There's air monitoring that happens every day that it's occurring, and then there's a final air test that happens.
And to that point,
Before any equipment.
it's happening, right, like, all of this is happening at CCMS right now.
Yeah.
And the abatement is happening right now. And that is, first of all, it's quiet and silent, and it's all internal. And there are, like how you are right next door, we have a lot of neighbors right next door, and then our admin team is right there. You know, so we're experiencing it kind of live, and to the minute, like, not having an issue with it. So, like you said, it's like, it's a great test run.
Yeah.
For, this is clearly a different animal, though. It's,
Yeah.
you know.
Different surrounding area, but I just meant the process itself. If you wanted to see
Me too.
what's going on, it's happening.
And if I can also just speak again to the health concerns, which I completely understand as them being the prime driver. Again, that this process is so heavily regulated, and it's monitored by so many, both like technological and actual consultants on site that make sure that this is done by the book, that it really does work to eliminate the risk of the health and safety piece of it.
Okay.
So when will you guys be out of here?
I don't- Here or there or everywhere. Summer of '28 is.
Summer
what-
of 28,
Summer of
yes.
'28, we're shooting. the
Summer
date.
of 28.
Can I just say, so that, would that include the landscaping?
Yes,
Yes.
everything.
As well?
100% soup to nuts,
Yep.
end of August of '28, kind of, as a ballpark at this point. As Kate said, we should have more of these meetings, right? And as we start getting closer to that piece of work, we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll have better detail on what we're doing and how we're doing it and whatnot. Hi,
Good to
Karen.
see you.
Thank you too.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
The meeting
couple of questions
regarding
about this.
fencing,
Just
what
ask them.
are, like, the potential points that we would be able to have input or?
Defer that to Justin.
Yeah, we're working on getting that packet together right now. I'm hoping we can email it out within the next week or two, so I'm not currently prepared to speak to that, but I'll make sure we get a package out to you.
So she's along, so there's different fencing situations happening in this project, right?
Yes.
So she's along here, she's actually right here.
Okay.
So it's this fence line here in particular is different than the rest.
That's right. Yeah.
And so the conversation would be, that meeting is very, very much specifically for you and your immediate neighbors.
And really
because
just the-
you all have there's different fencing there for different reason than the rest of the property. Not to say that the rest of the property isn't important as far as the fencing goes, and everybody who is navigating it should have a voice, but one of your neighbors, and I can't remember who it is in particular, has a very strong opinion about keeping the type of fencing you have right now because of past activity with students
Yeah.
and situations spilling over into the yard. And though that should be mitigated because
It's so
there's
far
a
away
field
from the
there
school,
now.
yeah.
Like, whereas before, it's like the students are right there. Now the students are gonna be up here, so,
You
yeah.
need a barbed wire between Brown Street and.
Yeah.
Well, and also
They
currently,
could.
the fence is actually on my property, which is, we're probably gonna move, but I don't know if, like, when we go to move that fence, I need to.
Cause it's a situation, right? Cause it's on your, is that what you just said? It's on your property,
Yeah,
right?
We've
And
talked to somebody
Yeah.
within school.
unfortunately, I think those
facilities.
people aren't with the district anymore.
So I don't
And
know.
that's why we want to have that very specific discussion with, especially you all, because it is on your, it's been on your property for decades. And so it's like trying to make sure it's not on anybody's property but ours. And also, it's the appropriate material for what you all expect and have experienced, so.
Okay. And then I just have some questions about the field, but I don't know if I want to.
I have questions about the field too, because, I mean, again, our houses really are touching the field. But I also have questions about what all of this is, because in addition to sort of my experience in life, lighting is always an issue, and then two, any of this stuff that you said, one of your elevation pictures has the rooftop machinery up here, noise. Like, I don't care about noise, it's transient, but if it's gonna be a permanent hum and a permanent anything, what sorts of things are on this? I'm thinking this is the back of the building to me, because that's not a street,
That's, okay.
right?
Yeah.
But I hear you.
We're referring to.
I'm gonna call it as the back.
As well.
That's where, yeah, that's where there would be
Naturally,
a big
just-
parking lot.
Yeah, so, right. What sorts of, definitely want to talk what you want, let you talk about the other thing though, but will there be mechanical HVACs, and I have no idea what I'm saying, anything that's going to generate permanent chronic noise happening there?
Well, the units that are on the roof are going to be contained within substantial screens that help to contain the noise, as well as, I mean, the building is tall to a point that you wouldn't be able to see it, but there are, isn't it like 10-foot or
It's like
12
14
foot,
feet high.
14-foot screens
Off
that
of the
work to
roof.
contain.
That successfully you think do that, mitigate?
Yeah, it's actually a fence built on top of the roof that is going to enclose both from a visual standpoint and from a noise standpoint.
Okay, and then, but anything at the ground level here, because I feel like at one of these meetings, we were talking about like hiding things in these shrubs.
And that's still the fact. Yeah.
What are those things?
There are some, so there's a chiller and an emergency generator.
And, oh, so the emergency generator is only an emergency generator,
Yeah.
right? And then the chiller is
Chiller just is for the air conditioning.
in the air conditioning. So would that be a humming noise that's like we're all gonna experience forever?
No, when it's needed, it's going to come on, and when it doesn't need.
But would we hear it way over there, you know?
That is not, I don't believe so. I guess the way to look at it, Judy, is like, the equipment that's on the roof now of the existing school.
The same.
Is closer to you now than what this will be, so I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be equivalent, so I don't know what you're.
I'm not bothered by it now.
So I don't think you're gonna find any difference with local.
Yeah.
Imagine like newer equipment.
Right,
is
that's
gonna
what
be
I'm worried
more
about.
efficient and
Oh, no, no,
Newer is
no.
better,
I was thinking
right?
the
Newer is
opposite.
better.
Newer is better,
Newer
more
is better.
efficient, quieter.
Okay, I had a neighbor that put in something loud and it was disturbing. Not on Brown Street, it's a rental property. Anyway, well, I believe you and I believe that's fine. Let's talk about the field.
Well, I was just wondering about the elevations in terms of, I guess you're gonna raise up what is the current parking lot, so you can have a field?
Wait, raise up, why do you say it's being raised up?
Wasn't that the plan, was to
There's a,
have?
No.
there's an elevation there.
To get from Columbia up to them
Yeah.
is going to be an elevation, but that's no different than what's there now, right? The
Oh, I
kids drive
thought-
up
I thought there was
the,
gonna be some fill brought in to create more of like.
to make
a
it
flat-
to make it a little bit wider, so you
Yes,
can
and
fit
have
that
more
in.
like a-
Correct, but it's at the same elevation.
Right, but since that elevation is gonna be extended further into, like, the highest elevation is gonna be extended into where the parking lot is now. I'm just trying to understand from like my backyard, are you gonna be looking down into my property?
I
No,
think you're doing
no.
two tiers, right? So she's talking about the front parking lot. You're not gonna raise that to meet the.
Not at that, no, not at that spot there,
Right,
no,
that's-
not at all.
I think
No,
that's
no,
what
no.
you're asking.
Oh,
It's
I
going to
think,
be
yeah.
it's gonna
Right,
be
so
a,
there's some, like, drainage built now, or is going to be built where the current.
On Columbia
entrance-
Street.
Yeah, where the
Yeah.
current entrance is, which is like.
Yeah,
right
those are
next
all-
to my backyard.
so those are all gonna be at the same level as it is now with your yard, right? Just gonna jump in here for one
And I
second.
guess I had a question, like, in theory, there should not be standing water in those, that's the
No.
point, is that it
Nope.
would be,
Correct.
because that's also a concern, is that there's all of a sudden gonna be like.
A swimming pool there, yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's not the
and
case
it's
at all.
like
Nope.
I thought at some point the landscape guy who was here said he was putting a little catch pond thing or something.
That's these things right here.
Oh, that there.
Yep. Yeah, and they'll have shrubbery and whatnot, some plants and whatnot that are in them as well, I believe is the
But
intent.
there'll be water there, right?
It won't be standing.
It won't be a standing swimming pool full of water, like.
Gotcha.
Like you won't even know it right now, but there's one of those right in front of Hazard.
Yep.
Like you probably don't even know that, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you don't see an ounce of anything in it.
My kids know, they're always.
There's one of them, there's one there, and nobody even knows it because there's nothing in there. It just looks like ground. So to kind of get back to what you're saying, so these are gonna be at the same level as where your house is right now. And then all these lines that you see right here are all the climb of grade change. So until you get to kind of here, is kind of where the fields would start, and then there'll be fields,
And it'll be flat fields.
flat fields going that way, yep, at the rough.
Which would be about at the same elevation as it is.
As it is now,
Yeah.
yep, yep. I mean, it might be off a little bit here or there, but give or take,
And
it's gonna be the same.
So the building, I'm trying to think of what that's called.
This here?
No. The top building that's,
Like by the construction, right now, the construction,
it's like the garage that they use.
yeah, it used to be an auto shop.
Oh, the auto shop, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
this
Whatever those
right here.
buildings are, yeah. So that elevation that those sit on is not gonna change, and that's,
I mean, I don't believe so. Without having the drawings right in front of me, it's hard for me to tell you definitively, but we can certainly get you that information.
okay.
I just we don't have it. It's not really defined on what we have here in front of you right now, but I can tell you exactly where these fields are gonna actually
Okay.
start.
I mean, that would be helpful when we talk about fencing and have
Yeah.
that conversation.
Sure.
Just trying to understand, because I do need to do something about my fencing, but there's been some hesitation until I know kind of what I need to plan for in terms of how this is all gonna end up, affecting my property and what.
The new conditions have to blend into the existing conditions, right? We can't have you guys here and then all of a sudden build something that's like this, right? And have
Well, and
have a cliff,
that's-
like,
right,
so,
that's my-
so, again, I don't have it in front of me, and I could show that to you, but they will all blend. They-
And at that fencing meeting, we will have the grading plans there for a frame of reference as well, with definitive answers to these points.
I have a question. You see how you have Kimball Street? It looks like originally Kimball Street was part of the Mowry property. My house is there, and it was Mrs. Mowry that donated the land for the high school. And so my understanding was at one point that Kimball belongs to the school department. And it looks like, the school, and you've got Kimball Street kind of laid out there as
You're
part.
talking like right here?
Yeah, that's why it's marked out like that.
So is the school responsible for like right now, Kimball Street is all beaten up?
It is a mess.
It's the snowplows just tore it up.
The only thing I can say is it's all owned by the town, right? Even
So
though,
the town's responsible
Yes.
for plowing?
Yeah. I don't know about plowing, no, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, they do plow,
they? Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they
They
plow,
do.
but I didn't know, like right now, it is all torn up
Yeah.
from the snowplows. And I didn't know who's responsible. for
Oh,
it.
that would definitely be the town.
I would say town, yeah.
Yeah.
Is the town, yeah. Okay. So when you keep saying that Kate, that the greatest fencing thing is along the Columbia, we're still including us, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, you all.
I want to be at that
Anybody
meeting.
who
Yeah,
has a fence that's gonna impact their property will be in part of the conversation.
The current new fencing that's included in the job goes here, 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 and it ends right here.
Okay.
All right,
And
so
we're
this is
here.
all new fence currently, we know what we're doing, right. So-
We're here.
So the fencing, right, yep, so the fencing discussion with everybody is gonna probably start from here.
Yep.
And go all the way over
Okay.
here.
Yes.
Inclusive
Yep.
of
Yes.
us.
Yep.
And these are really just like shrubs this high, or what are those?
Those are placeholders for for whatever, there's going to be
What do you think?
landscaping.
Yeah, I
there.
don't think we've gotten that far.
It's
to
not
be
like,
honest with you.
it's not going to be like mushroom trees just plopped in there. There's like a whole, we have our Sam, I can't remember Sam's last name off the top of my head.
From Garofalo.
Yeah.
From
Yeah,
Sam from
Sam.
Garofalo, yeah.
He's our landscape architect engineer, and there will be conversation about the specifics of the vegetation and is it gonna be shrubs, is it gonna be a tree, is it gonna be whatever. Him and his team, who work very closely with Phil.
But will the neighbors have input?
I don't know if there will be input or informative conversation, I don't know personally on that
Well, can
topic.
we?
I just don't know, because it's specific to, like, the vegetation in the area,
Yeah.
that I am not a vegetation expert, so I couldn't speak to it,
Yeah.
right? So it will be a conversation,
Probably a
Is it mostly for screening, or is it security, or
combination of everything,
everything?
yeah.
Is there lighting planned?
No.
For the fields, no.
Yeah.
No,
I actually don't know.
No.
Right now.
there's no field lighting.
And I hope it stays that way.
No.
my concern is just about the landscaping is that any kind of trees, we have a very fragile fence like you, and we should like spend 10,000, 20,000, whatever it is to fix it. I can't use the excuse that I'm waiting for you to be done to spend the 20,000. I think I just don't want to spend the 20,000. But those, like whatever is planted there could affect positively or negatively our fence as well. So I'm just curious to be involved in.
I think we can get you that feedback back.
I just want to
I don't have a
As
whip.
We're not the
Somebody's
people.
Yeah.
you know,
doing the landscaping. We're so far out. What's that, 2020 what?
It's a long way away.
Yeah.
28.
Yeah, but it is a long way away, but also time goes so fast.
And budgeting.
And my whole thing is, Luke and I were talking back there, when we move the kids into that building and this building is still existing, like what does the traffic flow look like?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's a year away. It's like, yeah.
Oh, no, yeah.
But that's tomorrow, right? Like,
Yeah.
we move, everything is just moving at lightning speed, that we need to have a plan,
Right.
starting now, making a
Right.
plan. To your point with that, like, with those conversations should.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you having those traffic flow conversations? Because that's a good point, because as we saw at the beginning of
Correct.
this,
Yes.
all of a sudden they wanted to open up
Yes.
Kimball Street, and that was a nightmare.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
We
Let's.
didn't sleep over that.
correct.
It was a
So
nightmare when
planning
it was.
before that happens, and the chief
110%.
of police knocks
Yeah.
on the door and says, hey, we're opening
Yeah.
Kimball.
I don't think it lasted very long.
No, it
That was a
didn't.
quick
That
one.
was, that was a quick
Don't
stop.
do that yet,
Yeah.
because literally.
That was a painful 24 hours.
I was gonna say, was it?
I mean, that was
Yeah.
really a painful 24 hours.
The goal is to not have that, and the goal is
It
to
would
have
be
a thoughtful
the
plan.
Texted Raisa and she said, did somebody get shot? Why are you calling me?
I'm calling her from work, I never.
And she was like, don't interrupt me. And I was like, but this is
I
big.
literally was like, why are you calling me at work? And then I was like, oh, no, it is actually urgent.
But anyway, so that kind of adrenaline spike, I really just want to mitigate those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any case, you guys are doing a really great job. I'm really impressed how professional everybody's been, and really just so grateful for Kate. Thank you.
Yeah. It's gonna be
I
awesome.
thank you
We're
for
very
the team
excited.
who, like, you call me and I'm like, I'm calling you.
Yeah. There's definitely a chain.
Yeah.
It goes, we go right through it, for sure.
I'm hoping I'm not calling as much anymore. I mistakenly called you last night, but I had a lot going
You
on in my.
texted me yesterday and I was like, oh, no.
No, it was all good. And as it turns out, it was
The boy who
good.
cried wolf. We're trying to like
Oh,
really,
yeah,
if there's like a major issue, but beyond that, we're.
Yeah.
We totally understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did somebody tell the town to fix Kimball Street?
Okay, no.
I will actually text Luke as I'm
worried.
leaving.
Thank you.
But I don't want them to
Attention
fix
drawn
it
to
and
it,
then,
I'm very
I
grateful
agree.
because
I don't want them to
There's
want to.
nobody's gonna open that
This
place.
is an ish, but
I
the
don't
kids
want
on
it. My
senior
front door is
overnight,
right
they
where the
problem
street
collecting
looks
on
like a
sidewalk.
shithole out
Oh, it
there.
does look like a shithole.
They have, I
That's what
think
Steve,
they
yeah,
have,
what Luke was getting at is the Columbia Street sidewalk is currently being
plastic
replaced
barriers up
Oh,
there
by
right
us
now.
in this contract.
Did he say you
But
own it?
but he said it's not in bad
All
shape.
the way around, we
Like
usually
it,
go back through that parking
the
lot.
sidewalk, School Street, terrible. Columbia looks really, really good. That's why you're saying it might just need a power wash and a cleaning up. And so we, even though right now it's called to replace all of that sidewalk, we may not do that. Take the money from there and apply it more to School Street for curbing,
I
which
do feel
currently
bad
isn't
for
being.
School Street. That
Fully, yeah.
It's, right, especially right now, like when my husband and I.
But
were
why
walking
aren't they
by and the
here?
Neighbors were, I don't know, because when we were walking by, they were, like, one of the neighbors was like, ugh, this is awful, and we hate it, and, you know, whatever. I'm like, well, they're having a meeting, like, come to the meeting, or, you know, whatever.
It's confusing why they're not here.
Yeah, you know, whatever. And once the field is replaced, I think that will be nice too, even though it's not gonna be right across the street from them, but they're missing their field, like the dogs go out.
Well, their
and play
view
and
has
that kind of
changed.
stuff,
I know.
and their view is definitely changed significantly. But I think when it's done, like right now, the construction looks yucky, but when it's done, it's gonna be.
It's gonna be a
the
beautiful product, it really
improvement
is.
of
It
this
is.
corner is gonna be.
I would also
unbelievable.
say in this particular area, there's a lot going on. I mean, even just getting in
Old
here
Mountain
today, you
Field's
have,
gonna be
you have
awesome.
someone like doing their roof
Yeah, I
across
saw
the
it,
street,
yeah.
and then you
They
had-
just sold that house.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
And then you have the landscaping is happening, and then you have what's going on at Old Mountain Field, like it's all, and you're.
It's all good.
And the
but it's-
library and
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
there's
guilds.
so much
There's-
going on at one
Oh, yeah.
shot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when it's done, it's gonna be
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, the look is changing, so so quickly, like
Yes.
every month.
Yeah, for sure.
We do a drone video,
Yeah. Even-
like Justin
Like the
showed,
ones
every
slashed
month.
up.
If you
Yeah.
put a collage together of every month's drone,
It's
it's,
amazing
Yeah.
what you do.
Incredible how much
right,
gets
and it's going to
done.
continue to do that in a better way,
Yeah.
right? So it's only going to be getting better than,
Yeah.
than what it was
Yeah.
in the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, it would be nice to think that if you were below budget, we're not just, like, I don't know where that
Spending
money
it.
goes, like, where that savings goes, but I would hope that we're putting money into the landscaping.
That
Oh,
kind
for
of
sure.
stuff,
Is to
yeah.
make
Yeah, the goal isn't to spend every dime, but if we if we are under budget, especially significantly, which, knock on wood, we've been in a really good place, there are the ad alternates, which are upgraded landscaping, upgraded fence, upgrading different things. And again, it'll be a conversation at the school building committee level. And then we have a change order task force, I always say that wrong, level, and then at the town council level. But I think that in those pockets, that's where I feel we should be also having abutter conversations.
Yeah, so
And getting feedback and having those.
that's what I was just gonna ask you. How can we participate if and when that money is being designated? How can, because I can't study, I'm off the town council mailing list of, I'm not gonna look at the agenda every week. So. No, I hope so, there you go, let's put it on the 11th.
We're gonna build a field house.
Is administration staying over there?
Yes.
Yeah.
But how, I don't wanna look at the town agenda every week and wonder.
No, that's why when we get in these incremental places, I wanna have abutter
Yeah.
meetings. Because it is your backyard.
Yeah.
It is a.
And it is, the trade-off is,
Your fence,
Well,
it is.
And I just wanna make sure that in the end, like, we don't have any mature vegetation, because it's a point at which we can just save money and look like, oh, look how much money we saved, but
Yep.
it's like, doesn't look great and is not an inviting space to
Yeah.
live around.
Yep.
so.
you,
All right. I
I'm
gotta
sorry,
go,
you
Judy.
want more, you want mature vegetation. so
I'm sure you guys want.
Yeah, or just, I don't want that part of it
Yeah,
to get
we're-
described.
Right.
All right, just in conclusion, thank all of you for your time coming out here and listening to this presentation. I thought we had a great discussion at the end. I encourage everyone to take these handouts home, and if you have any questions after further review, you all have my contact information. You'll continue to hear from me every week with updates with new information as it comes. So thank you, and enjoy the holiday weekend.
Thank you,
so
yeah,
much.
enjoy the week.
And you said like a week, we should hear from you about that meeting?
The fencing meeting, 1 to 2 weeks, I would say, 2 weeks at the latest. And we'll make sure to have the grading plan at that meeting.
Yeah, I was just trying to see from.
Love it.
Yeah, which is.